Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to another episode. Today, we have the one, the only, the magnificent manifester, the coldest metaphysician, Tone. So goaded. Bow, 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 bow. Welcome to the stage. Tone, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely amazing, honestly.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, we just did an interview on your channel, and now we're doing one here. So, I'm going to ask you some questions about your origin stories.
Okay, that's cool. Let's get it.
So, what is it that brought you into conscious manifestation?
A eerie pattern in relationships. Funny enough. Well, there was two times. Funny enough, the first time was I was living in South Florida and I was working two jobs. I was like, I want to get an apartment. I want to have this better life. And I was like, dude, I got to work two jobs because the type of life I want to live, I need a lot of money. So I was like, I'm working two jobs, whatever. And that just went to shit. Like I couldn't stand being at work. Like I hated waking up going to work. I hated it so much. I was like, this just doesn't resonate with my spirit. My car broke down. This is how I know your mind is a very funny thing. It didn't even break down. I had it in the e-brake for 2 months. So didn't know that. And I ended up having to move back home with my parents. And I was just like, I asked same thing that was similar to you. I was like, I guess I was in like a meditative state without knowing it. I was like, does life work? I was like, I need to know. And a day later, I found a video of Neville Goddard, and then applied what he said, like the I remember when technique. That's all I saw. I didn't know anything else of what he was talking about because when I when I started trying to look at these other videos, I was like, what the fuck is this man talking about? It's silly. But I applied the remember when thing, and like 3 weeks later, everything that I said in the remember when technique everything manifested. Now, what got me into like law of assumption fully was a eerie pattern in relationships. It was like every 2 years into my relationship, mid-November, like right before Thanksgiving, I would get broken up with. So I was like, all right, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why is this happening? So I asked again, I was like, how does life work? Because the first time I don't think I fully grasped it. I'm gonna get this is a lot of people do this. They get what they want. They're like, all right, fuck all that other shit you were talking about. I don't need that manifestation shit. I'm gonna just do what I want. So I found Sammy Ingram, funny enough, maybe like 2 days later, and one of her first videos was like about self concept, and it was like, yeah, your life is being created in patterns based on your self concept, and I was like, and then from there, ever since I started applying, from there, it's just like, obviously, I got my person back, which was insane. I have an insane story on that. And then I just started applying it in other areas of life, like money, family, addictions, all those different things. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is something I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
Wonderful. What are you planning on doing now? You've grown your TikTok to almost a quarter of a million followers so far. You have released four albums in the last year, was it? Just last year you did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just keep growing at an astronomical rate. So, what is it that you're excited to bring forth?
I really do like making LOA music, funny enough. So I don't know if it'll ever I can't even say anything I do is like my main thing because like I'm very talented artistically. That's why I find it funny when we did the other interview. I was like, yeah, that reminds me of myself. It's like I do everything artistically. I just want to find other ways to make law of assumption more mainstream, but also to where it's not corny or is seen as woo woo, which I've done it in other ways as I've gotten to this point, which like everyone sees like LOA memes now and people think not everyone thinks I'm crazy. People who follow me since the beginning, they know like at one point on TikTok, you did not see like LOA memes, like the little funny videos over the sound. That was like one of the first ways I did it. And I was like, okay, what if I could do that with music? And I people ask me why like even some of the first songs I made, they're like, you don't like your song Neville? Or like I was like, it's not my favorite. I was like, to me now it's kind of corny because I've made it to the point where like if someone were to listen to it, you can't really tell that it's like spiritual LOA music. I was like, it sounds like normal music, but every lyric is intentional. So like what I want to do now is just like further that in some way, shape, or form, whether that's fashion, art, continue doing it with music, just making LOA to where it's like everyone knows what it is. It's not this corny woo-woo thing anymore, especially for guys. I'm more run into guys who are like, that's fucking insane, bro. You can't just think something without action and it's gonna happen. I'm like, I'm telling you from experience. Yes, you can.
I love
But yeah,
that.
that's pretty much it.
I love that. Yeah, I had a similar realization about music because I was like, I remember music really easily, right? And
Mm-hmm.
having the repetition of that. I remember I was like, it was during the pandemic and I was just watching Hamilton over and over again. And then I hit a point where I was like, Rosemary, you have to stop. And then I was like, hey, wait, I'm not going to shame myself. What am I getting the joy out of here? And I was like, it's how fast it is, and that it's teaching about history. And I was like, well, what do I want to teach about? And the answer was creating a reality. So that was when I started writing my first like long form rap pieces. And like, that was fun.
Yeah,
Like, I realized I was like, music transmits really fast through the ethers. So if I want to teach things, and so I love that that's what you're doing too. Cause like, I looked through your discography and stuff. Metaphysics Shit Talk is your most
yeah,
recent release, April 15th. Congratulations
yeah.
on that.
Thank you.
So cool. Just getting bigger, better, more ingenious lyrics flowing out into the world. Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. Seriously.
Yeah, my pleasure. What has been your favorite thing that you've consciously manifested?
Everyone would typically think it's like, because like, okay, here's what's funny about people on the outside looking in. They would typically think it's something material. They'll think like, oh, you live in an apartment, you can't be making that much money. I was like, if I showed people how much money I was making, they would actually shit themselves. I was like, I just spend my money on like traveling experiences. I was like, I don't care for a big house if it's just me. So, but one of my favorite things I was manifesting or have manifested, um, and it wasn't even the X backstory that I posted on my YouTube. I was like, I've gotten X's back without LOA or without knowing LOA. It was family issues and addictions that I never thought I'd get over. Like family issues where there's like these generational curses that's like, okay, your family's doomed or destined to this, especially during COVID when everybody like had to be together all the time. That's when it was like really, really in my face. I never really noticed growing up how, not to say my family issues were the worst. I have great parents and siblings. It was just like seeing it face to face every day. It was just like, okay, no, there's a problem here. And then funny enough, that was like right after I learned LOA. So I was like, I can fix this. Like this doesn't have to be whatever. And now like my family life is amazing because it's like at one point my parents were like on the brink of divorce. There was constant like arguing, shouting, beef between mom, dad, mom, sister, dad, sister. I'm a peaceful child. So like I don't beef with none of them. So I was just like, they all come to me with their issues. And I'm like, okay. Like, okay, we got family issues here. So it's like that. But also just my own personal life, which was a serious problem with smoking weed at the times. And I just didn't want to anymore and eventually got rid of that. And also I'm not gonna say the full word, but pornography. I could not get my hands off of that for whatever fucking reason. So I was like, I don't have to do this anymore. So like those were my favorite ones because it felt uh, like that was just gonna be life. Like you know how a lot of things that happen for people, they're like, oh, that's just life. It's like, no, I don't want that to just be my life. Because especially with the pornography, I remember doing a meditation. It was like, why do I even do this? Why do I do this? And like my mom was in the military. I remember having this, it was like a vivid flashback to something I don't even remember, funny enough. It's like, you know, how they say consciousness has a record of everything. I was flashback to when my mom left for Kuwait when I was like 4 years old. And at that time, you don't know if your mom's coming back. You don't know if that's a, hey, I'll never see my mom again. So it's just like I realized that was a coping mechanism because it's like, okay, this will never leave me. I can have this at any point in my like when I want. At that time, it's like, I don't know if mom's coming back. I don't know if she's ever going to be here again. I'm never going to see her again. So like having that experience growing up gave me like an abandonment wound. And that's where I filled that abandonment wound with that addiction. So once I realized that, I was like, okay, let's just stop coping and realize, okay, that's what it was. My child mind thinks that way, but as an adult, it's like she never left. She did come back. So that meditation alone made me stop doing it. Funny enough. So those are my favorite ones, honestly.
I love that. And yeah, I mean, it's the things that change your life at a fundamental level, like the
Yeah.
behaviors that are picked up to soothe something. And then once that wound or something is reconstituted, there's no reason for it to stick around.
Yeah. No longer serves you. So I just thought that was very interesting because, again, most people, it's a SP, money, career. I'm like, I've had all of that before I even knew what LOA was. I was like, it was those two things that I thought would never change, or just like, ah, it's life. I was like, cool. I didn't know I could manifest that. Like, especially with, people are like, it's so hard to do this when it's in your face. Both of those were in my face at all times. It's like the frustration of, I don't want to do, I don't want to keep coping with these addictions, but I keep doing them. Or the frustration of, I'm saying this in my head about my family, but they're still acting this way. But it's like, okay, say it anyway. I'm gonna keep saying it. Something has to change. It's just looking back on it, it's like these are the bridge of incidents that led me to the final materialization of those things. So yeah.
I love that. I also manifested away some gnarly stuff for myself. So I relate to that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm wondering if you would like to play a little game.
I love games.
Okay. So I'm going to send you just like, I'm going to choose a few words. I'm going to
Okay.
send it to you on the chat here, and then you can freestyle and incorporate them. This is one of my favorite games. I'll do this at open mics. I'll make the audience like write random words on a list of paper, and then I'll just have to improvise something with it.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Here we go.
Is this like you say freestyle, is this like poetry or are we talking like
Just
rapping?
let it flow. Whatever comes out of you is perfectly correct.
Okay. You know what? I know what I'm gonna do. Acceptance, I'm gonna say that has been the biggest key in changing my life, which is like, I don't know how to, actually I do know exactly how to explain this. You know how they say what you resist persists? I think people get that misunderstood. I think when you accept something with pure love, because you know how they say, consciousness, the way I look at it is, or God is, it's an all loving entity or deity, whatever you want to call it. When you accept something about yourself, it's a lot easier to get rid of it because it's like, okay, I'm accepting this is who I am, this is who I am currently, and that's okay. I still love myself. That's when a lot of change happens, and that change can be very drastic. Jurassic change. I think I'm getting Jurassic mixed up with drastic.
Sometimes the drastic changes seem Jurassic in magnitude.
I like that. I like that. And the metaphysics of it all. It's like that was a word I never understood until I started watching someone named Reverend Ike, and I started watching, not watching, but reading into Florence Scovel shit. Which, funny enough, that's what you remind me of. I don't know if you know who that is.
I
Florence
do
Scovel?
know who Florence Scovel is, but I'm surprised by the comparison, but also I guess not surprised. Thank you.
Yeah, like a modern day one. Like shit, especially with the rhyming thing. Cause like she was like, rhyming sinks easily into the subconscious. I was like, yeah, yeah. Cause there's a lot of times I'll look at certain coaches and I'm like, I wonder who they would be like the modern day version of. Like some people I'm like, oh, that's modern day Neville, or
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah. Cause some people be like, oh, you're the modern day Reverend Ike. I'm like, is it just because I'm black or I'll be fucking with them, but yeah. Um, but yeah, metaphysics also comes down to persistence. Some people don't like that, and they're just like, no, say it once. Which again, everybody's correct in their own reality. But I like the fact that metaphysics does work on persistence because if everything I thought once just kind of showed up, I'd be in a garbage heap. There we go. Don't know how I'm gonna throw windfall in there though. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
That's one that trips me up. Windfall and maybe Constitution, because when I think Constitution, I think of, actually I do know how to throw Constitution in there. Neville Goddard talks about how the Constitution was written based on metaphysics. They didn't write it as in something for the future. They wrote it as something now instead of, hey, this is some far off distant future we're thinking of. It's like, no, this is what we're thinking now, and that now always exists. So it's funny we still use that Constitution till this day. and that being used in metaphysics is actually Neville knowing that kind of let me know he was a mystic, but I was like, that's fucking insane. But yeah, the only one tripping me up is that windfall one because I'm like, I don't know how I would incorporate that one. But I kind of like this little. It's like a brain dump.
Mm. So a windfall being like the just a windfall of money, you getting a fuck ton of money. So it's like um the acceptance of self is the reconstitution of what matters. It's Jurassic in volume, the metaphysics of the windfall that you are always flowing through you, the persistence of self throughout the garbage heap of illusion that then forms your constitution as you remember what's true then.
Oh, see, yeah, you did that way better than I did. Way better than I did. That's one art form or like form of creative expression I haven't explored yet. I just like even when I make my music, some people think I write it. Sometimes I do, but for the most part, it's like, I thought of this punchy little bar. Let me record that, and then I
I
do it
love
over and
that.
over again. So
What's your notepad like, your notes file in your phone?
funny enough, it's like it's either like sometimes I'll think of lyrics and I write them down. Sometimes I have like epiphanies about manifestation and I write them down. Sometimes it's like the most random thing, like I have notes on how to play a certain video game. My notes are fucking insane. Like you would think a madman was in there. You're like, there's no cohesiveness here. I'm like, yeah, because I do a little bit of everything. They say, which I don't agree with this. They're like, a jack of all trades is a master of none. I'm like, no, I don't agree with that at all. It's like me being a jack of all trades have actually helped me master a lot of different trades, funny enough.
Well, the full phrase is jack of all trades, master of none, better still than a master of one, right?
I think so, because I remember seeing that somewhere. I just couldn't remember it because I don't hear it. I always hear it. Jack of all trades, master of none. I'm like, I don't think so. I was like, because if you actually live that experience, I'm like, it's actually a very, very unique experience because it's like there's things that I do part time that I'm better than people who do it full time. I'm like, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
just fucking around over here and I'm still cooking. So like,
Well, that actually brings me to the next thing I wanted to remark on, which was something that I very much appreciate with you, is how intuitive you are. You are very tuned in to just the genius of creation. And that's something that I noted. So you mentioned in the interview on your page, you found me through the nose post. I had been following you for a while, but I hadn't like super absorbed your stuff. I hadn't looked at your YouTube. But then you reposted that post. So I like checked out all your stuff and I like found your uh the video where you were sharing about your SP story. And you
mm,
mentioned how you sat in silence and like had the information coming to you and just like knowing stuff.
mhm.
And I think that that's like something really awesome that I've seen with a lot of people who are very creative channels, where it's like your lyrics are very genius. I was listening to them yesterday,
Mhm.
appreciating the lines that you were writing. The ability, and maybe you can describe what this is like for you itself, but for me, it's like getting the conscious mind out of the way and just leaving that space for just the genius to flow through.
That has been something that's been within me since I was a kid, funny enough. But as I've gotten older and consciously practice it, it was from, and this is how I know everything works together. It was from the experience I had with my SP. It was like intuitively, something was like, yeah, go sit in a very dark place and just observe your thoughts. I was like, what the fuck ever. I don't care. I already feel crazy. What the fuck ever. So I was doing that. And then once I experienced that very, hmm, specific thing where it was like, yeah, she's in jail. And I was like, her? I was like, have you seen her? And I was like, you think she'd be in jail? Whatever, if you say so. And then 20 minutes later, I get a call. It's like, oh, I'm in jail. I was like, what the fuck was that about? So I was like, let me start practicing that more. So like now I do it consciously and I'll sit there in silence and in the darkest place I could possibly find. And it's like, it clears out your ego voice, I would say, or like those egoic thoughts or those like reactionary thoughts or reactive thoughts, I should say, where it's like just the stimuli of the day where it's like, oh, the TikToks I watched, maybe songs I heard, that's like usually the first 10, 15 minutes. Another 15, 20 minutes is like, say, hey, you should make an album like this, or here's some lyrics, here's how you should make this beat, or like maybe I already made a beat to something, like here's what you should say. I'm like, even sometimes as I'm recording something, it's like I'll be sitting there, it's like, oh, you should say this. Because that's really all music is. I stopped looking at music as something being created. Music or anything artistic is something being downloaded. That's how I looked at it. And it may be all at once, but I think some people handle it better when it's like bits and pieces, because that's how mine is. Sometimes it's like, hey, here's an album name. Here's what the theme for that should be. Or here's a video you should talk about because somebody needs it. It's really weird, but like it's kind of cool at the same time. It's just like you get this idea that won't leave you alone. That's how, because people are like, how do I know it's intuition? I'm like, a lot of times it won't leave you the fuck alone. It's like, hey, I'm choosing you as the vessel. So you have, in like the Michael Jackson story people talk about, it's like you have a certain time period to act on that before it goes to someone else. Like it needs to be quick. So that's pretty much how I look at it.
I love that. That's wonderful and very accurate. Yeah. Is there something else you're desiring to be doing with your life?
Yeah. A lot of different things actually. That's where the jack of all trades comes in. It's like they call it a multi-potentialite. The funny thing is, I tell people this all the time. In my personal life, I don't really say it on my platform, but it's like I am more talented than I will ever lead on, and I'm more intelligent than I ever lead on to people. So it's like there's a lot of things in this life that I plan on getting my hands into. And when I do, I just, for the most part, I don't give three fucks what people think. But for the people who do follow me, it's like, if you see me being a world renowned tattoo artist, don't be shocked. If you see me doing comedy stand up, don't be shocked. If you see me doing Twitch streaming or like some type of video game streaming, don't be shocked. It's one of those where it's like, I don't want to be confined to one role. And especially once I realized consciousness, the reason we all exist is because it wants to experience itself through different lenses and perspectives. But in my vessel specifically, I was like, I think it wants to experience a lot of different perspectives rather than, this is why I could never keep a job or do like traditional life things. It's like, bro, I want to do so many different things and be like one of those people by the time I'm like 80 years old. It's like, oh, what's your story in life? It's like, dude, we're gonna need some time. Like, we're gonna need some time because I did a little bit of everything. Like, be one of those type of people because I definitely don't want to confine myself to this specific niche. It's like I love the community and all the people in it. It's just I can't say this for everyone else, but it can be very stagnant from time to time. It's like I've made the same video probably like 20, 30, 40 different times, just repurposed or said something slightly different or used a different analogy. But I was like, my creativity is too boundless for making the same thing over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So
For sure. Yeah. I was thinking about that yesterday where I'm like, how many different ways can I say the same thing? How many
that's
times can I say the same thing in the same way? And
yeah.
you're still going to be like, hey, you can manifest anything you want and circumstances don't matter. But what about my very special circumstances? But this one's different, I swear.
They don't get it. And I get that because like until you're some people I've had some clients who've had like genuinely become coaches. Like I think it's funny enough, we talk now and she's like, I get why you were the way you were. It's like I'm telling someone, it's like, hey, circumstances don't matter. Think in your favor. They're like, what about me? I'm so different. I'm like, I've seen, I hate to like, I don't want to not give someone their individuality or like dismiss what specifics they're experiencing. But I'm like, I'm telling you right now, as someone who's been doing this, like actively coaching since 2021, and before I even charged anyone, I coached for free until I hit 100K. I'm like, I've seen you almost a million times. Like, I'm telling you right now, it's not any different than a lot of the things I've seen. Now, there are some crazy things I've heard, but nonetheless, I'm like, bro, we're saying the same thing. You just got to apply it. And it's like, I'm going to find probably 1,000 different more ways to tell you the same thing. But again, even back to the original question, it's like, yeah, that's why I have to keep expanding outside of this niche because if not, I'll probably go insane. It's I don't know if you experience the same thing, but like when your creativity feels like put in a box in a certain way, you're just like, dude, I'm about to lose my fucking mind.
I understand that. I understand that. And I
Yeah.
think that's why it's if I ever feel that, I tune into like, okay, what energy do I want to create with today? And then what medium do I want to create through? So if it wants to come through music, if it wants to come through painting, if it wants to come through a TikTok or something, that's like like I noticed it as like energy building, right? And sometimes it's just I want to fuck off and run on the beach or something, and I'll go do that. But like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's insane when you have all that creative energy. I don't know if everyone experiences that, but from the just from talking to you, I could tell it's like you're probably very similar to me, where it's like it's sometimes it's overwhelming. Like it's
Oh yeah,
overwhelming.
for sure. Um, and that's like you, I'm sure you've been in a loop of just creating where it's like you're creating so much and it just feels like you're kind of like blasting energy through you.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, let's dial it back a little bit. Let's just pull back a little. Big toe, SpongeBob.
Let me take a break. This is getting a little insane, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to like over answer the question, but
Yeah. Um, what is what's the one thing you want to leave people with? Like the thing that, let's say, people who've been manifesting for a while or people who just are new to this. What do you want to leave with? What's the
as far
best
as like
advice you have for them?
okay, it's really sit and like because one of my main things that I learned with law of assumption was like, or the quote that like encompasses law of assumption is think as if it's true until it's true, no matter what you see. I think what I would like for people to remember, whether I stop coaching today or whenever I inevitably do leave this vessel, is like really sit with that statement and think about what that means. And when you really understand it, it explains every little concept that most people teach. So if you say think as if it's true, that's the first part. It's like whether you're doing self concept or you have a specific desire, it's think as if it's true. How do I come up with an affirmation? Think as if it's true. How do I affirm? Think as if it's true. Okay, what after that? Until it's true. That's persistence. That's saturation. That's um, I would say it's not circumstances don't matter yet, but the no matter what you see part is okay, but they're saying this, they're doing that. My family says this, the bank said no, the job said no, the person at the apartment said I'm denied. No matter what you see is just a projection of your old consciousness anyway, because that's why they say, and it's funny how being source or God is like, it's like a little game because it's like it left clues for you. It's like, think about the word, they would say live in the present. If you break down the word present, it literally says present.
Recent.
Yeah, it's like what you're seeing right now was present. If you want to experience another present moment in the near future, you have to presend something else. You have to think as if it's true until it's true, no matter what you see. Because if not, you're just going to keep presending the same thing, and then you're presented with it on a day to day basis. So, and I get that's where the challenge lies for a lot of people. It's like thinking beyond what they physically can see or feel and experience, but that's when you truly become a master at manifesting. It's like I'm thinking beyond what I could see, what I could, especially for people who are doing what you are doing, which is like health issues or let's say my case, family changes, SP changes, whatever. It's like beyond what I can feel physically. It's like it. I'm sure in that moment it was probably a little difficult for you to be like happy and healthy when it's like, dude, I can't even sit up straight. But it's like, okay, it's either that or if I just do, it's like they say, choose your heart. I could choose to not be able to sit up straight for more than 5 minutes, or I could choose to persist through these undesirable thoughts and knowing that if I keep doing it, something has to change. It's like they say, your mirror will never lie to you. If your outside 3D world is your mirror, then it's like until you change the internal state, nothing changes. So it's one of those. It's like I really want people to sit with the statement, think as if it's true until it's true, no matter what you see. It'll literally carry you through life if you truly understand what it means.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone, his links for his YouTube and TikTok will be in the description below. And just in general, thank you so much. Thank you for creating. Thank you for posting all the things that you post and share. And it's been a pleasure.
No, you're welcome, and thank you too. Seriously.